Months after the war in West Asia broke out, the hostage situation remains grim. The ceasefire truce between Israel and Hamas militants was welcomed by the world. In the truce, some Israeli prisoners and Gaza hostages returned home. But since their return, allegations are being made by both sides on how the captives were ill-treated. Here's a report.
Remember those happy photos and videos of Israeli hostages waving and smiling upon their release by Hamas militants? Well, it turns out there is a reason for that. According to Israel's health ministry, Hamas militants drugged the hostages who were released during the ceasefire. The reason, you may ask? They did that so the hostages look happy during the transfer to the Red Cross in Gaza. Israeli ministry officials told lawmakers at a hearing of the Knesset Health Committee the captives were given tranquilizers ahead of their release. Moreover, according to the head of the health ministry's medical division, the hostages were administered clonazepam. It's a mood-enhancing drug used to treat seizures and panic disorders. There are more disturbing allegations made by Israel. According to reports and Israeli women's rights campaigner, sexual assault was a part of the atrocities-filled rampage by Hamas and other Gaza militants. They say they saw footage of women in several locations whose condition left them in no doubt that they had been raped.
The denial of the atrocities committed by Hamas on Israeli women by women's organizations around the world is a denial not only of our humanity, but of the values that we have all worked so hard to bring to light. As a woman who's not only Israeli, but also American, and also heads a women's rights organization, it is shocking and deeply painful to have other women's organizations not recognize what has happened to us, not share in our pain, and not share in our stories. It needs to change now.
My mother came back with testimonies. I can't listen to her talking about how they were handcuffed, how they were abused and not given medicine or medical care.
Israeli police say they have so far gathered more than 1,500 testimonies from witnesses and medics. Moreover, Israeli women's rights and legal activists are calling on key international organizations to publicly acknowledge reports of gender-based violence. In the 1 month of war in Gaza, allegations are also being made by released Palestinians. They allege mistreatment in Israeli prisons and the horrific conditions in which they were living. Former Palestinian detainees have described beatings, deprivation, and a radical deterioration in conditions in Israeli jails. Released women prisoners also claim that they were denied basic needs which they require for themselves.
They took everything from us and it was very difficult. They did not allow us to go out and breathe fresh air, and all the cells were crowded. Our situation in prison was very difficult, as life in prison was completely unbearable.
People in prison wish for this food that we had a while ago. What can I say? In prison, a small plate of rice is for 7 people, but a person usually eats 2 plates, and 12 small pieces of bread or 3 packs of bread are for 12 people.
The situation inside the prison is very hard. I can't really express how hard it is. We're not allowed out of our cells. No good food, no meals, there is nothing. We were starving. There is nothing good in the prison. The situation is very catastrophic.
Despite the daunting conditions described by both Israelis and Palestinians, it's been over a month when, on October 7th, Hamas attacked Israel. They took with them some 240 people who are being held hostage in Gaza. The hostages are from more than 40 countries, and they include people of all ages, from a child to an elderly person. Of these 240 hostages, 105 Gaza hostages have been released during the Qatar-mediated truce which ended on 1st December, while Israel released 240 Palestinians who had been in Israeli prisons. Under the terms of the agreement, only children and women were exchanged by both sides. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.